Let's chat personal finance, and SEBI is planning to make life easy for mutual fund investments. There have been many categories within a mutual fund of a select type, and now SEBI says that eventually one can only have one category in held by a mutual fund in every sort of category. The SEBI is now wanting to just keep it very, very simple for mutual funds. So they planned to limit the number of funds a mutual fund can operate. Each fund, they say, now will be allowed only one fund of each type, like I just mentioned. The goal, of course, is to reduce complexity of choices investors have to make. So let's try and analyze whether this is required at all, and if this does come to be implemented, whether or not this is going to make our lives simpler or not. So let's bring on board Dhirendra Kumar from Value Research. Dhirendra, good thinking by SEBI, but is it really required to begin with?
Yes, good thinking by SEBI, and this is something which can be done only after you have created the mess. That this is a mess created, and now we have to fix it. Because if you look at the number of funds, investors are faced with a problem of plenty. You have just too many funds. We at Value Research, or the ET Now viewers will have a very clear understanding what we have been saying in this program, every day, or in our investor guide, that one can simplify one's affairs by keeping it fairly straightforward. If you are a first-time investor, invest in a balanced fund. If you are an equity investor, you should do with minimal number of funds, and adding more funds does not necessarily mean anything meaningful. But the product says, creation of a new product, the story around it, the lack of accountability, fund companies find it very convenient, a new marketing story. And historically, it has not worked for investors. Investors come to a mutual fund for two core benefits: convenience and diversification. And diversification of a meaningful kind can be achieved only with a simple product, with core attribute being diversification, because only by compromising on this benefit is that you create an exotic product. So SEBI is doing, but I think SEBI needs to be a little careful here, because even after simplifying, if one is to go and leave that, one can have 13 kind of equity fund, it is still simplification with a rider. Likewise, I would say that, fixed income funds, we need even, it will get simplified. But investors need to simplify it even further. I don't think there is any substitute to have a simplified thinking for an investor, which can be which SEBI can override. SEBI can only specify, can make life little easier, but real easy life can be achieved only by the investor's own action.
In such a case, I mean, this is just future thinking right now. What about investors who are, invested in a particular scheme, say suppose within fixed income or within a sectoral fund? So what does SEBI do for people who are holding those different schemes? I mean, they get clubbed into one. How would the process work? And do you not see a hurdle coming in there in purely the implementation of combining all mutual funds under one umbrella within each category?
No, one has to really see, because this is still in a very basic talking stage, and one has to see that how it pans out. But things can be fairly straightforward. If SEBI defines that one can have only 5 kind of equity fund, then fund companies will have to slot their individual funds into one of those 5 categories. Today, the tax rules have been simplified to a point that there will be absolutely no tax implications for combining them or slotting their funds into one of those categories. But fund companies will still find it reason, as we saw last year or year before last, that fund companies SEBI has put an embargo on approval of any fund, which a fund company has to justify that they don't have a fund of this kind. Then only they get an approval to launch one. But fund companies were able to devise a very ingenious method, a very simple method, that they were launching closed-end funds of a similar kind, on the premise that the liquidity attribute is compromised, which is good for the investor and which is good for, and that was the scapegoat. So fund companies will always find a way around it. But I would say operationalizing it is not a problem, because tax laws have been simplified to a point that any fund merger has no tax implications for investors.
Okay, good news for retail investors out there. Dhiren, always good chatting with you. Finally, mutual funds are going to be a simple and easy route, which they should have been in the first place. But SEBI is making our life simple now.